Welcome to the Virtual Business Cafe, where we're going to talk about a few tips and tricks for business owners and entrepreneurs, from sales and marketing and mindset hacks, I guess is the best way to do it. So today what I wanted to talk about was the obstacle illusions, the critical constraints. And some of them are not illusions, some of them are real. The reason I call them obstacle illusions is often we're making a mountain out of a molehill. So if we think about ways to remove our critical constraints, what I'm going to do is share one or two ideas around that today for you. So in every bit of work or production process, there is a series of steps that we have to go through. And invariably, one of these steps is a choke point or a constraint. Could be time, could be throughput, etc. And once you identify where that critical constraint is, you can look at opening up your mind to removing the obstacle, whether it's real or an illusion, and turning it into an opportunity to get more stuff done, or to stop doing things altogether, or maybe rejigging what you're doing. There is actually something, I think it was about 13, 14 years ago, when I was considering getting involved with Brian Tracy's teaching through Focal Point. And doing my due diligence process, I met one of the partners of Brian Tracy, Cam Frazier. He's since passed away, but what a stellar of a man, probably one of the best coaches I've ever had the opportunity to have met and had a cocktail with. And some of the things that he talked about, I need to refer back to some notes to make sure that I don't mess up his wisdom and Brian's wisdom. So what are critical questions to help you with your breakthrough? What are the critical constraints on my ability to achieve my goals? So what is it that's getting in the way personally for you to achieving your goals? What are your bottlenecks? For example, if your goal is to double your productivity, what's the first thing to do is to identify the different steps that you will need to take to get from where you are today to where you want to be in your ideal life. Exactly. You can examine each one of the steps along the way and determine which step is the limiting factor. And then you can start to look for solutions for that critical constraint, and not necessarily only at the conscious level. One of my favorite mantras from another teacher in my life is, if we know what we want and why we want it and stifle the how, we can often get more to happen for us in our life than we can in any other way. So knowing what you want, knowing why you want it, and stifling the how, here's a caveat: unless the how is taking you towards the ideal end result that you have. In other words, what's your major definite purpose? What's your big why? If those things, those hunches, those intuitive ideas are moving you towards that end result, that idealism that you're looking for, take it, see where it takes you. Along the way, you'll gather information. You might realize that what you're asking for is not as clear as what you thought it was. I remember, it was in the early 90s when I was looking for a laptop for free. Yes, a laptop for free. I figured I'm going to figure out, that was my critical constraint. I didn't have the funds and the wherewithal to do it in a traditional way. So I thought, how can I creatively and innovatively get what I want? And what I wanted was a laptop so that I could help a guy sell his software. And I wanted to do it with zero budget. And I go out and share this with people. The idea and the concept of getting a computer for free. And I got laughed at, for sure. Absolutely, I got laughed at. But I also got people along the way that wanted to help me and support me. And what I learned from that process was that some of the people, when they offered up assistance by providing me with a solution, by giving me a laptop, the first one that popped up was the they offered to give it to me when they didn't need it. And I says, that's fantastic. When don't you need it? And they said, you can have it after hours, like after, 8 to 5. Well, that was really kind of what I needed. But in my definition and identifying the problem that I had, I didn't specify that I needed to have it 24/7, or at least during the daytime, during normal hours. So because I hadn't done that, I wasn't able to see what happens. All the bells are ringing, the phones are calling just when you're doing a Facebook or a StreamYard Live. Anyhow, I wasn't specific in my ask, so not to get into the details of that. If you want to know what the details were and how that transpired and what ended up happening, I ended up getting a computer for free, but I also needed to, along the way of knowing what I want and why I wanted it, rejig and remodify my ask so that the end result was clear. I did end up getting a laptop for free, and I was able to help a fellow sell the software. And as a result of that, longer story short, is now I own the software that I was just helping this guy get onto the marketplace. So the constraint I had at that example was not having the wherewithal at that time in my life to buy this expensive laptop. So if you know what you want, why you want it, you can get there. So I want to introduce, I'm going to show this to the camera, see if you can see it. It's called the law of complexity. Now, you probably can't read all that, but as you can see the chart, I will explain a little bit more about what that is. The law of complexity basically says, when you ask yourself, why haven't I achieved my goal already? If you want to double your income, for example, why aren't you earning twice as much already? If you want to spend more time with your family, why aren't you doing that already? And often forcing yourself to develop the answer to these questions will enable you to see the critical constraint that's stopping you from living the ideal life that you want to do. Here's an important fact or a point. Fully 80% of all of the constraints that are holding you back from achieving your desired goals are inside yourself. That's why I started this off by saying the critical constraints or the obstacle illusions. Only 20% of the constraints are on the outside. So if fully 80% of the reasons that your business or personal life, you're not achieving your goals, it's something within your business or something within your personal thinking that's stopping you from fully reaching your desired outcomes. Most successful people work on this question. What's in it? What is it in me that is holding me back? Ask that question. What is it in myself that's holding me back? What am I thinking about that's causing me to not take action to move forward? Is there something I need to learn? Is there somebody I need to interview? Is there more information that I need to gather about a technical aspect? If you ask better questions, you'll get better answers. If you like what I have to say, when you see this afterwards, by all means, send me a message, give me a thumbs up. If you have a question about business or mindset, sales and or marketing, send me the question, the ask, and if I can answer it directly, I will. If not, I will find an expert that we can interview on my longer version of the virtual cafe with an expert, and you'll hear from them the answers to your questions. CoachPhil.ca is my website. Phil@CoachPhil.ca is my email. Or you can message me on Facebook. I look forward to hearing from you.